I'm Sian Larkin, and I'm the manager of design services here at Plan First Design in Auckland. This week we're going to focus on kitchens and bathrooms, more specifically benchtops and cabinetry. Right, so why is it so important to make sure that you choose the right products or materials? It's always a fine balance between the budget and the wish list. So it's important to know, and I talk about it every week, how you live, how your family lives. Let's say the more budget-friendly materials are normally the materials that don't last as long as the more expensive materials. We'll go through them one by one, and we'll start with the most budget-friendly, cost-effective materials, and then we'll work our way up to the more expensive ones. So weigh up the options and have a look, see what suits you best. If you were doing a design and you were going to rent the property out, it's probably better to go for materials that are hardier and more resistant to scratches, wear and tear, burns. Cohesively look at the materials. If you've got open plan living, do a cohesive look. Make sure whatever products, materials you do put in your kitchen or your bathroom, make sure that they match the rest of the style that you're going for. Often it is good to try and stick along similar themes when you're doing a kitchen and the bathroom. It makes the house look more cohesive and high-end. So, cabinetry. And we'll start with the first one, which is melamine. So generally, you would find this in a lot of homes because it is the most cost-effective, and it's mostly used for the carcasses of the cabinetry. So you've got a particle board, which is compressed timber particles, and they have got a plastic covering over them. What is important to note is the cabinetry needs to be, the edges need to be sealed extremely well, because it is susceptible to water damage if those corners aren't sealed properly. But this is your most cost effective when it comes to cabinetry, often used for the carcasses. In larger kitchens, bathrooms as well, but especially in bathrooms, make sure those edges are sealed, because if they're not, you would get water damage. And in bathrooms as well, make sure that those bathrooms are extracted properly. Natural ventilation, of course, is the best, but make sure your extraction system is suitable, because especially with showers, you've got a lot of steam in the air and moisture in the air. And if those edges are not sealed properly, the moisture will most definitely go into the particle board, and you might not see it for the first year or two, but eventually you will see swelling in the cabinetry. The second product is called MDF, which is a medium density fiberboard. So these are just finer wooden particles, and they're pressed into a smooth board. Very good for painting if you're going to be doing shaker doors. Very good for that. It gives a very smooth finish. One thing to note with the MDF, it is heavier than the melamine. And just make sure, again, if you are painting, make sure that you're painting all around and that there are no places for moisture to go in. Then you get to plywood. So plywood it's real timber veneers that are laminated together but in opposite directions. So these are very, very strong cabinets. They can be painted or they can be left natural. They've used it for the TV cabinet, and it is very durable. It has been finished just with an oil or a sealant. If you want that natural look, particularly if you've got a Scandinavian style, that would match very nicely. Next, we're going to have a look at timber. So timber, of course, is a natural material that is cut directly from the tree. You can have it as planks that are glued together, or you can have a solid piece. Of course, having a solid piece of timber is more expensive than having a piece which has been glued together. And it's best used for feature vanities or feature islands, open shelving, very popular at the moment. So very seldom is it full cabinetry because of the cost particularly, and it does look, it gives it a bit more interest in the kitchen if you do mix it with other materials or other solid colors. What is nice about timber is if it does scratch, because it is more susceptible to scratching than some of the other materials. If it does scratch, you can, sand it down and refinish it. It's got a natural warmth to it, and it does add a lot of value, resale value to your home. If you are having a timber benchtop, make sure never ever to put any hot pots or that kind of thing on it. Where should I spend more money, cabinetry or benchtop? Now, I would say probably benchtop in the kitchen, because that's the first thing that you're going to see, and it's what you're going to be working on every day. So it's going to take the most wear. In a bathroom, I would say just make sure you spend money on a product that is well sealed, that doesn't get moisture coming in. Okay, if we have a look at benchtops, what are they actually? We'll start off looking at laminates. It's a particle board which is wrapped or has a decorative sheet bonded with a particle board. So it is very versatile, and it is the most cost effective. Just make sure that the edges are sealed properly so that you don't have any moisture coming in. They are very affordable, but they are not heat resistant. A laminate would be a smarter choice in a bathroom as opposed to a kitchen, again, just because of water and heat. Then you've got the acrylic vanity benchtops. Now, these are very popular currently. It is a pre-formed mold that they use to make these, so there's no joints. It's one solid piece, which means that you don't get water going in the edges, because simply there aren't edges for the water to go in. It is a blend of acrylic resin and natural minerals. It's very, very low maintenance, and it's very easy to clean. It's also not heat resistant. It does scratch more easily than stone. Then we get to the engineered stone. So this is crushed natural quartz that is mixed with resin and pressed into slabs. It's very durable, very low maintenance. It means it is a very stable product. Looking at porcelain or sintered stone, so it is made from clay and compressed under high temperatures and pressure. So it does replicate natural stone. It's got a very natural look to it. But again, it's a more controlled or stable product. And also, because it's UV stable as well, you can transition it from indoor to outdoor. So if you do have your kitchen indoors, maybe it's transitioning out to an outdoor kitchen, you can use exactly the same product, same finish, same color, just to give it that continuity. It is scratch resistant as well, because it is very, very hard, like a tile would be. And very, very low maintenance. So it is a premium product. Then granite. So granite is one of the natural materials we'll look at. It is 100% natural stone. It's extremely durable, perfectly fine for hot pots because it is heat resistant. And this is one of the high-end natural looks. Marble is another natural product, natural stone. It's not as hardy as granite. So people are a little bit more hesitant to use it in kitchens because it can scratch. Timber bench tops, and you can use things like oak, walnut, maple. Any of the hardwoods really can be used in the kitchen for bench tops and for cabinetry. It does give a visible grain. It's got a beautiful warm feeling to it, and it is quite high end. It does increase the resale value. It does scratch though, so just be careful of scratches. You are able to sand it down quite multiple times Just make sure you maintain it properly. It does need to be oiled or sealed every couple of years. Often used for feature statements. So if you've got a feature island in your kitchen, good for that, good for shelving, bathroom vanities. It can be used for furniture as well. It's a beautiful product. Just remember again, heat sensitive. What's the best benchtop for a busy family kitchen? I would say probably an engineered top or a granite. Where should I spend more money? Cabinetry or benchtop? Benchtop in the kitchen and water resistant. Cabinetry in the bathrooms or benchtop as well. But in the kitchen, the benchtop is what is used every day. So make sure that you give a decent budget to that. With that balancing act between the budget and the wish list of materials. But timber benchtops a good idea. Timber benchtops are a great idea if you don't mind the maintenance. And if you are just careful when you use them, it is one of the more delicate, if I can use the word delicate, materials in a kitchen. So yes, great idea if that is the way you live and if you're prepared to do the maintenance. Make sure that your cabinetry and your benchtop work well with the rest of what you've got in your home. Try not to clash, and mood boards, which we'll be looking at next week, is the best way to do that. You're welcome to get hold of us. We do specialize in residential new builds, renovations, additions, extensions, all over New Zealand and globally.